Grandpa. In case you can hear me, I love you. And I wish we could have met. Yeah.
Alright, so Confessing Dead Ghost. This was a song that was directly inspired by When I'm Gone by Eminem. That's kind of the reference track for it. I've always wanted to really write a song about a person, specifically. I write a lot of songs about different things in my life that mean a lot to me. A lot of politics, a lot of kind of identity-based things. I've never had a lover, so I don't know what it's like to write to a person. So Confessing was kind of my first time trying that. And I wrote it to my grandpa, who I never actually met, and I kind of like that quirkiness of the fact that I never met him, and I still kind of wrote a song to him. So the experience of writing the song was fun because it was really my first time trying to do what a lot of other people do that I've never done, which is really very directly write to a very specific person in my life. My dad and I sat down and had maybe an hour and a half long conversation about him, and he gave me stories about Grandpa that I put in the song. So the verses of the song are all very true stories and very directly things about him, very direct references to him, who he was, things that I would attribute to him, and they all came from stories that my dad told. And it was really cool because in that conversation with my dad, I really felt very connected to him in a way that I obviously would never have felt if I hadn't had that conversation with my dad, because I never met him. But I do think that through kind of writing the song, I definitely felt like I kind of came closer to him. The title is really cool too, kind of how I came up with it, because I had the title Confessing for a while, just kind of sitting there as an idea I came up with at one point. And then as I was writing it for the class, I just realized I liked the concept of dead ghost. I like that concept, so the alternate title actually came in as I was writing the song, and the original title I had for a while. And I think that's also an example kind of how when you're writing something for a class, it really does make a difference because you have there's certain influence there that's not there otherwise. And when you're writing for a class, those things can happen. I thought about Dead Ghost, also kind of thinking about the other people in the class, what they were writing. I was thinking about, okay, I wanted to kind of create something that was kind of in that vein of certain people or certain styles or whatever. And I don't know, I thought about the response of the class when I came up with the title Dead Ghost, which, when you're writing for a class, it's interesting because I think in a lot of ways you are more influenced than you necessarily want to be, but I think it's kind of cool because you end up thinking about the response of your idea while you have the idea, which is not something that I'm kind of used to. So I think Confessing kind of ended up a certain way because of that too. And I think if I had written it for a class, then it definitely would not have been the same. I think the idea within itself came from the prompt, because we had the prompt of writing an elegy. So I don't know if the song would have existed if it weren't for the class. So, I think it has a very direct kind of connection.
My life is real. The fact that you're gone is what hurts the most. This is my confession to
So, as I said earlier, When I'm Gone by Eminem is the reference track for it. The reason for that is because it's a rap song with a rap chorus, very purely rap, and very purely personal rap. And Eminem has a lot of songs that are very vulnerable, very much about him and his life. So this is kind of my way of trying to replicate that, which is really fun. So it's a special song because it's my first time kind of playing with a very specific genre of rap that I haven't really touched on in my other songs. And I may not touch on again for a while, but it's definitely, When I'm Gone is a very direct reference. That song is a very personal song of Eminem talking about his life, and the rap is a chorus, or the chorus is a rap, excuse me. So Confessing, again, was kind of me trying to to hear that.
Up for your lack of relationship with me. You were happy you're riding that horse in the
I guess
dirt.
another thing I could talk about with this is the length of the song. It's one of the longer songs, and the reason for that is it just kind of ended up that way, but I like the fact that it's kind of longer. It's very deep and very detailed, and I ended up what I did is I recorded the conversation that my dad and I had, and then I listened back to it, and I took from that conversation and I tried to figure out what parts I wanted to keep, and a lot of the parts I actually ended up keeping. So that's kind of how the song evolved, was kind of me listening to the conversation, going through each thing and kind of cherry picking out the parts that I really thought were very interesting. So the song ended up that long because I really kind of it just ended up being this really intense kind of culmination of the conversation, and I was trying to do him justice as much as possible, so I tried to bring in we just ended up talking about him, and again, it's just like whatever I ended up keeping from the conversation kind of ended up in there. But the length is very special because it is one of my longer songs, and it's definitely one of my most detailed songs in terms of the lyrics, and also because it's about my grandpa, most specific songs, which I really like as well. I will also say I actually wrote this song for a class, which is one of the kind of the first rap songs I really ended up writing for a class, alongside my song Genetic Light, which I also wrote for a class. But it's kind of the first time I ever wrote a rap for a class, this song, which is really exciting. So because of that, it was received, I got more feedback on it than any of my other songs, because I was able to actually workshop the song in the class directly, and that was really cool. And I got, just the reception from the class, that memory of kind of having brought the song into a class kind of speaks to it in a really special way. So that's also really cool.
That you died so close to the start of my life.
So then the mix, lastly. So I want to just talk about this, or just kind of more the feel of the song. I came up with it based off of a keyboard riff that was actually based off of another song that I wrote way back when I was 17 years old or so with one of my friends. We wrote a song together that had a really cool keyboard riff, so I used that as the bass kind of for it, because I always really liked that riff, and I was kind of revisiting it and thinking about my next songs, blah blah blah, and I kind of just thought, oh, you know what, I really like this riff, and I like the feel, I like the emotion. I always really liked personal, emotional rap songs, and I never really tried that. So again, that's kind of what the song was, me trying that for the first time. But the riff was based off of that other song. I came into that kind of knowing that, okay, I'm going to kind of try to replicate that riff. So I kind of listened to the riff, and I kind of figured it out, but then I kind of changed it up a little bit, and I got a riff that was inspired by that riff. But I listened to the feel, and I wanted something that was very emotional, very direct. The song that I had before had a very kind of straight drum beat, very emotional keyboard riff. So I wanted to kind of replicate that. So that's where it came from. And I ended up just kind of playing around on the keyboard, and I kind of played around with, and I came up with a riff. So I have a really cool little bass part and a little keyboard part that goes along with it, and then the drums. And it's fun too because it's one of my first times playing keys, but it's also like kind of that action is an ode to that other song that I never released, that I wrote with a friend that we never did anything with. So this was my attempt to kind of not exactly have that song anymore, but still kind of release the energy of that song, which I always wanted. So that's really cool. But yeah, it's definitely one of my more personal songs that I'm super proud of. So without further ado, please check out Confessing Dead Ghost, out everywhere now.
More than will. There was that moment when you were sitting in the SUV, you asking me